Hi, everybody. So, tonight we're going to talk about 5 easy ways to let change destroy you. Now, I picked this topic on purpose because we, as a country, individually, we are in the midst of a lot of change. And how to navigate those changes is really important for a number of reasons. And so, to get a grip on all of this that's going on, so let's go through these 5 things, and if you want to let that change destroy you, then you can follow these, and if you want to take control of those changes, then you can also follow these. See, change is a great thing if you're the one that wants the change. Isn't that how it works? I mean, if you don't want the change, it's really kind of a hassle, and we are apprehensive to that. But sometimes we are forced into changes, and we just have to roll with it. We have to figure out how to get around it and how to do the best with it. So with these 5 things, let's get them rolling. Number 1, the first way to let change destroy you or to control the change is your mindset. And you've heard me talk about this before. It's your emotional state. It's where you are in your mind. And the first thing you have to do when change happens is pause. Take a moment. Because we can't be reactive. We have to be proactive. We can't control what happens to us, but we can absolutely control how we respond to those things. So take a moment and pause. Secondly, you have to get out of your head. Our mind, our primitive brains are in that fight and flight mode. I mean, it's always looking for something that's wrong, right? It's looking for the danger, for the trouble. It's looking for that T-Rex that's going to eat us or whatever it is. It's been doing it for millions and millions of years. It'll always find the trouble. It always will. It's very good at it. That's what it's programmed to do. But if we get out of our head and start thinking with our heart, we can look at things from a different perspective. So you have to pause, you have to get out of your head and into your heart, and you have to find opportunities in the obstacles. And this again is in the mind. If you use your mind, you're going to find the obstacles, and you're going to find the danger, and you're going to find all the bad things that's happening. But if you go into your heart, you're going to start finding the opportunities for those. So for those of us now in this time today as a world who have kids in school, suddenly we find ourselves as homeschool teachers. This isn't the role we're designed for. It's not the role that we're trained for. It's not an obstacle, though. It's an opportunity. There's so many opportunities in this. Opportunity to spend time at home, to find out what your kids are doing in school, to be really proactive in their education. You know, in other areas of our life right now in this time, it's about, finding opportunities to be closer together as a family, to find new, interesting ways to connect with your other family and your friends, and to maintain, even through social distancing, a social integrity that allows you to maintain those friendships. There are always opportunities. If you look for the obstacles, you're going to find the obstacles. If you look for the opportunities, you're going to find the opportunities. And it's all about your mindset. See, when somebody's having trouble with something, my catchphrase is, well, did you stop and ask it nicely? And it sounds funny, no, I didn't. I'm mad at it now. But if you stop and ask it nicely, a couple of things are going to happen. Number 1, it's going to cause you to pause. Number 2, when you ask nicely and use please and thank yous, you start to change your mindset into a positive mindset. And in doing that, by pausing and changing your mindset into something positive, great things can happen to it. Even the window that won't open suddenly will open for you because you've been able to change all of those things. Physiologically, in your focus, in your language, your emotional state has changed, and different things are going to open up. Change your actions, change your results. You've heard me say that a million times before. All right, so let's go into number 2. Define your reality. Your reality is your perception. Wherever you perceive yourself to be in this moment, this is what your reality is going to be. So understand your situation. Take a third-person look at where you're at and what you're doing and what's going on around you, all of those resources that you have at your disposal. If we stay too focused, we're going to lose sight of those. And so step back a moment, pause, and define your reality. Where are you? See, reality and perception are a couple different things. See, a glass half full and half empty, we've always heard that. Do you see the glass half full or do you see the glass half empty? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you see it half full or half empty. It's your perception of that glass. Imagine that you're somebody who has been, stranded in a desert for 2 weeks and you find a half full glass of water. That might be the most glorious glass of water that you've ever seen in your life. Or maybe you're used to abundance upon abundance upon abundance, and the glass can be, half full or completely full, and it's still not enough for you. That's your perception, and that's going to define your reality. So take a good look, an honest look, step outside of yourself and look at your surroundings. And that's going to create your perception, which is going to create your reality. In other words, know where you are. And this is important in our roadmap. You've heard me talk about the roadmap before. So number one, you have to know where you're at on your roadmap. Now, step number 3, in terms of change, know your outcome. Where do you want to go? What is your goal? Be very, very crystal clear. This is where knowing where you are going. So now we know where we've been by knowing our reality, knowing our perception. We know where we're at, and we know where we're going by knowing our outcome. So if you look at a roadmap, you have point A, and now we have point B, which is the 2 most important parts. The third part is secondary, but it's also an important part. But those are the 2 most important parts. Know where you are going and be very crystal clear about where you are going. Maybe it's something in your personal life. Whatever your goal is, whatever your objective is, when change happens, know your outcome. Know exactly where it's at. Do not deviate from that. You have to stay very clear about where that is, and you have to persist without exception. When you set your course, you're going to set your course for growth, not for survival. So in this time that we're living in right now, or maybe in your personal life right now, you can have a growth mindset or you can have a fixed mindset. And this is the difference between surviving or thriving. There are millions of people right now who are in a fixed mindset, and everything they do, all of their actions are for survival. But they're not growing through that. See, even in change, even in adversity, and especially in change and adversity, you have the opportunity for growth. So through your mindset, see the opportunities, don't see the obstacles. Know where you're at, know where you're going, and look for growth. Look for ways to expand yourself and get creative and to build upon what you're already at. And we don't have to just survive now. I mean, we can thrive through everything that we're going through. There's lots of opportunity out there. Number 4 is know your course. We know where we're at. We know where we're going. Now, how do we get from point A to point B? So this is where you make a plan. The plan of action from here to here, whether it's in your personal life, if there's change you're going through, or if it's in the world changes that we're going through right now, and your self-quarantine and your social distancing. Those are changes nobody asked for and nobody really wants, but there are so many opportunities, there are so many great things. So make a plan. How are you going to get through this and thrive through this? See the opportunities for growth. Don't see the obstacles for survival. But here's the caveat to having a plan, because nothing ever goes as planned. And so when something doesn't happen the way you planned it to be, it's not an obstacle, it's another opportunity. See, these are opportunities laid after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. It just keeps going. Just keep growing from that. Like you heard me say before, when you fall, as long as you're falling forward, as long as you're learning, as long as you're growing from those are all successes. We can literally fall all the way to our goal, and that's okay. That's great if it happens. Just make sure you're falling forward. Plan for the unplanned. In other words, let's say we are literally taking a road trip from point A to point B, and somewhere in the middle we have a flat tire. But now what do? I don't know. I didn't plan for a flat tire. I didn't check the spare. I don't have the tools. You have to check for the spare. You have to check for the tools. You have to do that in your daily life too. When you make a plan, it's just not to get from point A to point B. You have to anticipate all the obstacles. And maybe you saw that in one of my posts I did a while back, not too long ago. But the easiest enemy to defeat is the one you've prepared for. So as you're visualizing that course of action from point A to point B, your plan of attack, make sure to visualize, make sure to include all of the possible things that could go wrong, so that when they do go wrong, you're ready for it. You're already set up. You're already ready for action. And you know the way around those obstacles. You've got this. And number 5, and super important, is celebrate often. See, we're taking a trip. Going through change, navigating our way through this is like going on a trip. You are from point A to point B to get through that change and come out with more growth, more alive, more you, a better you than when you entered into this change. And that's what this change is now, and that's what the life changes you're going through right now. You go through uncertain and unsure and maybe a little fearful. And we've talked about fear, so you know how to deal with this. But when you come out, you're going to be so much better off than we were when we went in. All along the trip, every one of those little things, you have to celebrate those. You absolutely have got to. You can't get to the top of a staircase in one step. You can't go to step 3 until you do step 2, and you can't do step 2 until you do step 1. And you can't even do step 1 until you begin to move. You have to move. All right, so each step you take is a success. Celebrate those. And I don't care how you celebrate them. Maybe celebrate them with a high five to yourself. Since we're social distancing, that's maybe the way to do it. I don't know. But celebrate those things. You know, cheer for yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back. That's all good. You know, sometimes I'm in the store and I'm looking for something in the cans section or whatever. It's taking me forever to find it, and I finally find it. Woohoo! Found it. I got this. Celebrate all of those little things. That's going to set you up. All right, so now the 5 things in review. Your mindset, define your reality, your perception, know your outcome, know exactly where you're going, know your course, know how you're going to get from point A to point B. And number 5, don't forget to celebrate. Celebrate all of those little things. Absolutely do. So if you're ready to let change destroy you, you can use those 5 things and do what you need to do to let change destroy you. Or if you're ready to thrive and get through the changes that you're experiencing, maybe your personal changes, the demons that you're struggling with, or maybe it's the world changes that we're all struggling with, you know how to navigate through those too. All right, that's all I got. Make sure to like, comment, share, all of those great things. I absolutely love that you take the time to watch me on these things. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you later.